have the pleasure of talking with you today, along with my colleagues, Dr. Ron Mitchell and Dr. Mike Ryan. Today's presentation is really introducing you to what we have been doing in terms of innovation at the Rawls College of Business, particularly focusing on how we are expanding and obviously how we are improving our MBA program. So that being said, I do have a small slide deck I would like to share that will kind of help you to kind of follow through the innovation I'm going to talk about. So at the centerpiece of our innovation is student success. So what we do at the Rawls College of Business is every end of every semester, we interact, we communicate with the faculty members and students, learn about the challenges they're facing, and we try to come up with a solution for those challenges so we can make changes and update their experience as we move along. So that being said, just to give you some introduction about our STEM MBA program, we started our STEM MBA in the fall of 2014. And STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this program was designed to kind of provide an MBA education to the most recent graduates having a STEM degree, and those who want to advance in a STEM field and wants to be a manager or have a leadership position. So one of the biggest difference of this STEM MBA with all the other MBAs we offer is the courses we offer in the STEM MBA are very much focused on providing business concepts in the context of STEM. So faculty members who teach in that program use STEM examples, STEM related cases, but still providing the business acumen we want to provide to our students. So one of the challenges faced by students in this particular program is first time. Most students out of, let's say 100%, around 95% or more students take 1 year to complete this course, this MBA program. Currently in the MBA program, we have around 89 students break into 3 different cohorts because we recruit every semester. So every semester a new cohort starts and they typically take 1 year to complete or 3 semesters to complete. So given the program is just for 1 year, it's not enough time to develop business acumen. These students coming from STEM field, so most of them have no business background. They are very good engineers, maybe very good mathematicians, or maybe in pure science, but their knowledge in business is pretty at a rudimentary stage. So that's been a challenge. So the other thing that was challenging was given the time frame. In other words, they only have a year to complete. We are unable to integrate an internship if they desire. Now we do have a couple of students, or maybe a few students, who are doing this program across 2 years. So for them, we try to find an internship at the end of the first year. But for most students who wants to complete this program within a year, it's difficult to integrate an internship. And obviously, if you think about all these challenges, it ultimately leads to the difficulty in searching a good job. So if you think about the challenge from the students, let's think about the challenges we face as, let's say, the program directors and faculty members. First is, really to think about is what is our value proposition to our students? We talk about, STEM MBA, is it different from the other MBA programs? So one of the challenges we always faced was, how can we make our program unique and obviously different from the other MBA programs offered by other universities? So differentiating from other MBA program was a big component. Along with that, when we think about comparing our MBA in terms of ranking, in terms of prestige, 2 big elements play a very big role. Like any ranking nowadays, they always look for what is the level of student engagement provided by that particular program. And second is how these students perform in the job market. So with these two big comparable factor and comparing factors, we faced a challenge as program coordinators and as faculty members is how can we improve student engagement in these programs and also increase the success of our students to get a good job after those 3 semesters. So what we did was we came up with a solution. And the solution was, let's think about a program level project that will integrate the course content into a business objective. So the idea came from some experience in a different university where they used to have a program level project where students worked on a project for the whole year. And they ultimately learned, and I would say, can relate the content in the classroom to the progress of the project. So when I was thinking about this project as a solution, I reached out to different faculty members, and we had meetings with all the faculty members teaching in the program, and we were asking this, what do you think about this project? So one thing that came out, actually 2 things came out. First is I found a product champion. So I'm a marketing faculty. So it's always, we look for someone who can be the champion, take the light, move forward. And we found Dr. Ron Mitchell. Dr. Ron Mitchell is a professor of entrepreneurship. He also holds the Jane Austen Begley Regents Chair in Management. And he was excited. I mean, he teaches in our program entrepreneurship, and he was excited about the possibility of integrating a project that will actually maybe have the bridge between the content they're getting in the class and their background, especially from the STEM field. So I reached out to Dr. Mitchell. We had a couple of meetings, and thanks to Dr. Mitchell, we had other faculty members joining in. We have Dr. Mike Ryan who joined in. We have Dr. Dino Villegas, Dr. Alejandra Marin, Dr. Mark Fish, and Dr. Atul Parvatia, faculties from marketing and management joining together to come with this solution. And a very innovative solution of, let's say, instead of having a project on the side, why don't we integrate the project into the courses we are offering? So what ultimately came up with the result of multiple meetings is, let's start and identify courses we currently offer in the program and see if we can develop I would say, year-long project with those courses as the main points. So for instance, students in the first semester, they take Dr. Ron Mitchell's class, which is called Technology Commercialization. And the goal was we will ask students and we'll teach students how to identify products or ideas from technology, intellectual properties that let's say those intellectual properties, developed by someone in the science area, and let's say they're sitting on the shelf. And the idea was, how can we take these IP, and students can learn and think about what will be a product out of those intellectual properties. So in his class, he kind of teaches them how to develop a product idea from intellectual property. And then in the next semester, students take a course called Marketing Concepts and Strategies. This is the core level and core marketing class offered by the marketing area. And we have professors like Dr. Alejandra Marin and Dr. Dino Villegas, who kind of teaches every alternate semesters. And in that particular course, they teach the students how to understand market and how to identify market potential for a product coming out from, let's say, the idea coming out from Dr. Mitchell's class. So you can see, to some sense, it's kind of a storyline where students are learning about different skill sets they need to have of obviously developing a product from an idea. And then after they learn that content in the third semester, they take two classes. One is called the Advanced Professional Selling class, and the other one, which is our capstone class, is called Strategic and Global Management course. In those two classes, students learn two things. First, they learn how to sell the product. So at the end of the day, in this project, they learned how to develop product from an idea, how to understand market potential for the product, and finally learn how to sell the product to prospect customers. And the other class, which is the capstone class, they learn how the overall picture of how all this process they have learned during the whole year, they can relate those to the things they're learning in other courses. So almost tying it back to the value proposition of our MBA program. So in general sense, if you think about this solution, to us is quite unique. Because all the programs I'm familiar with, all the different universities who offer different kind of similar programs, typically their projects are standalone. They are not integrated to the curriculum or let's say degree program of an MBA degree. So that is quite unique, I would say, innovation from our standpoint to our students. So, we started this program. We have been thinking about and planning for last 3 years. And finally, we all came together and started this innovation from the cohort starting in the spring of 2020. As you can imagine, we had all different plans of having projects which are face-to-face, they will meet, but pandemic obviously became a challenge. However, students were creative. They were able to complete the I would say the whole project remotely, because the students who started in let's say spring, which is the January of 2020, graduated in last December. Now, obviously, we have some feedback, and I will share with you a video that was made by the students and our faculty members discussing their experience with this project. Obviously, we have some faculty feedback here. After the video, I will ask Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ryan to kind of share their perspective about this project. Now, we are yet to get placement feedback. We do not know how the students are placed, whether the project played a big role in the success of getting a good job. That's still obviously the process for us to examine. But one good thing is, we were able to, and thanks to our faculty members, especially spearheaded by Dr. Mike Ryan, we were able to get a $30,000 grant from VentureWell Foundation. They provide grants for innovative projects like these when they see potential of such to support student bodies. So that being said, Matthew, if you can share the video, which will give us the student feedback to our students.
Welcome to the Texas Tech STEM MBA Integrative Project. We introduce a process that taps into the university's IP holdings as a foundation for innovation and entrepreneurship in MBA education. The STEM MBA students develop critical thinking and adaptivity skills using the NSF I-Core process, and subsequently create a real value for stakeholders. This program benefits several stakeholders. The university can move IP inventory into the marketplace. Societal problems are addressed. Inventors secure royalties, recognition, and research is incentivized. Students gain experience, understand customer discovery, and integrate MBA courses effectively in solving problems. Ron will now speak to the process.
To get this done, we work with the Office of Research Commercialization, the ORC, to select a technology and a supportive inventor. We introduced the Integrative project to STEM students in the fall, spring, and summer semesters with a 7-minute video. We collaborate among all STEM MBA professors with a focus on 4 courses that span the program: technology commercialization, marketing concepts and strategies, advanced professional selling, and strategic management integrative project practicum. We conduct an integrative project town hall meeting, virtual under COVID protocols, each semester. We depend upon and utilize college and university resources, support and leadership from our dean's office, engagement across the university community, the regents, president, VP Research, Associate VP of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, our Innovation Hub, and of course the ORC. This initiative drives a highly unique and integrated MBA which builds on the skills that STEM students bring with a point of focal attention, the Integrative project. In the Technology Commercialization course, we work in tentatively permanent teams that function like a startup venture or consulting company tasked with commercializing the technology through creating and validating a new product or service. We focus on how to solve unstructured problems using 4 key skills: constraints analysis skill, product concept development skill, product value assessment skill, and the integrative skill. We use a recurring learning system to teach these skills. Introduce the skill, do a lab that uses the skill, make a presentation on the application of that skill to the technology. We repeat this process for every skill, and then final presentations are made to a diversified panel of real-world professionals to provide feedback.
In the Marketing Concepts and Strategies course, students learn to think as marketers so they can develop marketing strategies for the products and services they have been working with. So students learn to put themselves in the customer's shoes to better understand unsatisfied needs and therefore recognize market opportunities. To accomplish this course participates in the NSF I-Course program.
I-Core reinforces learning that can only be secured by field engagement with prospective customers. Teams explore through customer discovery with subject matter experts the pains and gains that define the real values associated with the needs of the domain.
With the results from the customer discovery process, students define market segments. They choose one or more target market and design a marketing positioning strategy for the product they have been working with. They also develop the business model canvas and complement it with the marketing mix strategy, which has product, price, promotion, and place components.
Once this is done, it's time to engage in selling the new product or service. In the Advanced Professional Selling course, students develop a sales strategy. This includes learning to identify potential customers, to build and maintain relationships, to develop techniques to convey the benefits, that is, solutions to problems of the product or service to customers. For example, the FAB technique, FAB, features, advantages, benefits, and to understand the importance of creating value through sustainable revenue streams, for example, from repetitive purchases, subscription-based models, and so on. Then it's time to tie it all up in a bow with our final Integrative project course, the Strategic Management Integrative Project Practicum. In this course, the Integrative project provides the substance of the case analysis method used, and students learn the components of a strategic framework. For example, arenas, vehicles, staging, differentiators, economic logics, how to apply each component to the project, how to make necessary changes to each component of the project to increase its competitiveness. As a result of these activities, the STEM Integrative project accomplishes the following for the college and the university. The STEM MBA in the Rawls College of Business is one of a kind when it comes to creating a core focus for students, which makes it attractive and sustainable at a time when MBA education is highly competitive. In short, it's a differentiator. For TTU, we create a potential licensing opportunity, revenue stream. Specifically, student teams create ideas for the ORC to use in the recruitment of licensees, ideas that, according to the ORC, they never would have thought of. For TTU, we also enhance the university's reputation as an innovator, both through new technologies and new programs. And the inventors who work with us in the STEM Integrative project experience the following results. They're better assured that their invention is receiving sufficient attention to its commercialization, such as feedback from STEM-skilled students on potential products and services, and also feedback from potential customers. Inventors also have the opportunity to experience a little bit of the business side of their involvement with the technology, which they come to seek and work together like a cup works to contain and mobilize coffee, all while continuing their research with very minor interruptions for the commercial side. As a further result, they continue to enhance their reputation in their field of expertise.
As recent graduates of the STEM MBA, in which we were immersed in the Integrative project, we'd like to explain a few of the results we experienced. We graduate with hands-on experience which employers want. We have gained a tangible understanding to be able to bridge the gap between science, STEM, and business through concrete, practical application that make the abstractions that are important in a graduate business education come alive through our skills. We have learned how to maintain long-term collaborations, more like relationships in business, through the development of political, behavioral, and social skills in a real-world workplace.
We could see both direct and indirect applications of our overall MBA coursework. We were able to adapt more quickly and problem solve more effectively and efficiently, since for tasks such as customer discovery, we had to present ourselves as adults and working professionals, not necessarily just students. Just because we think a product is the next best thing doesn't mean there is a real want or need for it. And lastly, we changed our mindsets to embrace uncertainty and avoid looking at it for a right and wrong answer.
Our program is dynamic. While not yet 1 year old, we added a practical model to strengthen the real-world benefits. We hope this spurs others to capture value that exists but remains untapped within their institutions. We welcome the opportunity to share more with those who are interested.
Great. Thank you, Matthew, for sharing the video. So as you can see, this video, we actually developed it for the venture well. Since they gave us the $30,000 grant, they wanted us to develop a video introducing the project so others can learn from this design and experience. So I hope that can gives you an overview of the innovations we are currently working on at the Rawls College of Business, trying to improve our STEM MBA program. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we do have two distinguished speakers along with us, Dr. Ron Mitchell and Dr. Mike Ryan. Dr. Mitchell, to some sense, he was, I would say, from the beginning, he has been the champion of this product. I mean, he and his team, he spearheaded the thing. So Dr. Mitchell, if you can briefly talk about your experience, your thought process, and how you see this helping us moving forward.
Thanks, Mayuk. I do have a few things that I'd just like to convey to our wonderful alumni. First of all, there's real leadership in this college. Mayuk and Margaret, the kind of creativity that is required to do a project like this can only come with leadership. The interesting thing about leadership is it's top down, but it's also bottom up, because the students work in groups and they learn leadership skills and they collaborate to produce these marvelous people. You saw two of them, Krista and Reagan, on the video. So it's just marvelous. There's actually kind of a magic that occurs as we business people meet STEM people, and that connection has its own kind of chemistry. It's almost catalytic. So that's really exciting. The other thing I will say is that right now, everybody expects, and I think rightly so, that university education, even the master's degree, which is, as one of the students said, abstract in some ways, really has to be real world. And so we're in a hands-on kind of a setting, thanks to the opportunities that we've been given. And each of us in the STEM is enabled through this integrative project to just get our, I won't say the hands dirty, but we'll get hands-on real projects. The last thing I'm going to say is that when you deal with the real world, it's not as clean as a case study in a textbook. You really do have to structure unstructured problems. And so our students come out of this, the thing I've noticed is they come out of it with critical thinking skills that are really just top notch, just highly effective people. And for that reason, I'm looking very forward to getting the placement feedback and the experiences that happen to our students, because my hunch is that they're going to continue distinguishing themselves in practice the way they have in their academics here in the STEM MBA. Thanks for the opportunity to share a perspective, Mayuk. I'll answer questions if we have time at the end.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mike Ryan, you have been spearheading the relationship with the Rawls College Business and the Hub. If you can talk about how this program is kind of enhancing this relationship with our partners, that'll be great.
Absolutely. What thrills me about this is it gives us an opportunity with the students and our faculty and the university to demonstrate what real collaboration is all about. And what's really important, I think, here is the MBA is a degree that's focused on practice. Our task is to develop skilled management team, so that when they go out into the commercial world, they're presenting the best face for Rawls and for themselves. And the Hub has focused on that type of thing, that they're looking at what we consider translational research, turning basic research that's sitting on a shelf into real viable products that benefit society. And through the efforts of Dr. Mitchell and the other faculty members, we have incorporated the I-Core methodology directly into this program. So the students not only have the opportunity of going through the NSF I-Core process, but in doing so, they're positioning themselves for subsequent participation in the National I-Core program, which has some substantial grants associated with it and opportunities for further commercialization. And I think this mindset, opening this mindset up for MBA students, whether they go out on their own or go into another company's business, is great, because it develops within them that self-confidence and that ability to think independently and bring new things into play for their employers or themselves. So this is just a phenomenal opportunity, I think, for all our students. And by the way, we have the team from the first cohort is going to be joining the National I-Core program for this fall.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ryan. Can you explain to our audience briefly about the I-Core? Because many of them may not be familiar with this program and how and what they look for and how our students contribute into that process.
Yes, the I-Core program is a different way of looking at commercialization. Rather than the typical, I invent a product and I tell everybody what it's good for, we teach the teams how their their technology is important, but they shouldn't go out and sell it right away. What they need to do is they need to talk to potential customers and find out what their need is, what their pain is, how are we going to solve that pain for them without selling the technology. So the whole concept here is to make sure that when we create a product, that there's somebody who's going to want it afterwards. And that can only be done if we understand what their needs are rather than project our own. So the I-Core, we start with customer segments, identifying customer segments, and the values to those customers from their perspective, not from our own. And then we expand into the other areas of business where we talk about distribution and revenue and such in the larger program. But right now we're focused on, and that's why it works so well with marketing, because it's an understanding of the customer's needs.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ryan. So as you can see, this innovation is quite unique, and obviously we hope that this not only helps our students bring more, I would say, insights and kind of provide them with better support in the job market, but also strengthens our relationship with Hub and other partners. So thank you so much for listening to us. And if it's okay, let's open the floor for questions. If you may have, you can type your questions, or you can, I guess you can unmute yourself if you can and ask. We'll be happy to hear. Okay.
Julie, can I speak?
Yes.
I wasn't sure of the format. This is Margaret Williams. Hi, everyone. I'm Dean of the Rawls College of Business, and I wanted to step back a minute and provide a little bit more background on these three outstanding individuals who have created this innovation for the college, and then a little bit more about the college's relationship with the Innovation Hub. So first of all, Mayuk Das is our Associate Dean for Graduate Programs and Research. He also is the James L. Johnson Chair in Business Administration. He's the director of our Scoville Business Leaders Program, and I could go on and on. He's a very, you can tell he's a very energetic person who wears a lot of hats. He also is an award-winning teacher and researcher. So I just wanted to provide a little background that these folks didn't do on their own. Dr. Ron Mitchell is a professor of management. He holds the Jean Austin Bagley Regents Chair in Management. And this year, among other distinctions, he is being recognized as the Barney E. Rushing Jr. Faculty Distinguished Research Award. So we're very proud of Ron. And Mike Ryan is an associate professor of practice in management. And I know alumni are always interested in learning more about professors of practice. So we do have many traditional faculty within the college who are on tenure track or who are tenured. We also rely very heavily on what we call professors of practice, who come from distinguished industry backgrounds and bring that experience into the classroom. And Mike Ryan is one such individual who contributes greatly to our entrepreneurship program. And he is being recognized this year by the Innovation Hub as their Mentor of the Year. So all three of these individuals wear a lot of hats and stay very busy. And I just want to thank them so much, because it's faculty such as these three who really make business education come alive for our students. You know what they say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. These three personify that. So I definitely want to thank them. When sometimes we'll describe a situation as a win-win situation, this is a win-win-win-win. I don't know when to stop counting on the wins. I think they provided you with a great insight into the student experience. One of the things we talk about in higher education is high impact experiences. Those are the out-of-the-box opportunities that students have. They are the experiences that they learn the most from. And I have talked to alumni who remember high impact experiences from 50 years ago. You know, I remember when I did a research project in Professor so-and-so class. It's the learning that really sticks with students. So the first win for this innovative project is for our students. And the most recent ranking of our full-time MBA program, which is the STEM MBA program, we were rated 20th in the country for the amount of learning that students achieve during the program, which to me is, I guess this is easy for me to say, I'm not this, to me, that's more important than salaries, starting salaries or anything like that. So we're very proud. So first of all, this is a win for our students. What's a win for our students is also a win for the program, as I've just described in terms of the rankings, and a win for our college. So we're very proud of the experience that we can provide students. It's also a win for the Innovation Hub. If you don't know about the Innovation Hub, go to their website. When you're on campus, visit the Innovation Hub. To a person, every alum who I have seen who's walked through the door of the Innovation Hub wants to spend more time there and learn more and do more. And we have alumni who are serving as mentors. We have alumni who have invested in companies at the Hub. So as a university level organization, they really rely on the colleges to step up and provide the faculty and the students that are involved with the Hub. So it's a win for the Hub. And I think Mike Ryan stated it very beautifully. I mean, this is also a win for the entrepreneurship ecosystem of West Texas. It's a win for the business community. It's a win for society as we are nurturing these ideas, and as they mentioned, taking ideas off the shelf and nurturing them into businesses that can provide jobs and everything else. So it's such a great program. I know one of the things that I have learned from interacting with the Innovation Hub is how much the people working out there need business students and business faculty to be involved. I think there's a lot of knowledge that we take for granted that the scientists and the medical professionals just don't know. So we viewed this. Mayuk was talking earlier on about kind of the quick learning curve. It's a 3-semester program. Students need to jump in and get going. It may not sound as though they have a lot of business expertise to share, but it's highly valued. And I know Mike Ryan especially can speak to that in terms of his experience as a mentor at the Hub. So we love the folks at the Hub. We enjoy supporting their mission. It is a true collaboration and one in which we really enjoy. I guess, so I would encourage you to get out there and visit. And I think what you heard, I hope, from this presentation is that the skills that students are developing in this program are exactly what employers want them to have. You want professionals who can excel in teamwork, professionals who can excel in ambiguous environments and engage in creative problem solving. You want folks who can be emergent leaders, who can recognize a situation and see where leadership is needed and step up and do that. And I think that this is one of the best programs we have for preparing students to be the kind of employees that you like to hire. So thanks to Mayuk and Ron and Mike for jumping in and launching this program. And I'm just really excited about it. And I wanted our alumni to hear how excited I was about it as well.
Thank you.
So Julie, what are we doing for questions? Is it in the?
Yes, people can put questions in the Q&A or the chat.
Okay. All right. I can't get the Q&A to work. Maybe that's okay. Let's see if I can get the chat. Okay. So Julie, I'm clicking on Q&A and nothing happens.
I believe it's because you're on the back side.
Okay. All right. Just checking. Trying to engage and create some creative problem solving. So Mike, I might ask a question of these three. Mike, maybe have you been involved with any Rawls alumni out at the hub?
We have a few Rawls alumni who have worked as mentors with us. We also have some Rawls alumni that are, as I said, I have two from the first STEM cohort that are going into nationals. They're alumni at this point, but they're going to be commercializing a product that was developed at the Health Science Center in El Paso. And that's intellectual property of Texas Tech. So they'll be licensing it through Texas Tech. And we're thrilled. It looks very promising. And in fact, we just lined them up with an industry mentor yesterday. So, and that's where Rawls comes in really well. We look for representations on these teams, not just technical, but we need to have those entrepreneurial mindsets. And from the NSF perspective, we need to have industry mentors who will work with these teams through the process. So it engages everybody throughout the system and ultimately produces some very highly qualified teams.
So I'm curious. I'll ask a like a critical incidence question. So if you think about the teams that you've worked with, what has been one of their top achievements? Not necessarily in terms of the outcome. I mean, the team going to the national is clearly a top achievement. But if you think about the day-to-day, what you've done in your courses, what have been some of the most positive experiences in terms of learning, and we always talk about learning from failure. And so the other question would be, what's an example of something that has not gone exactly the way you hoped it would, and what have students learned from that?
Maybe
well,
take that.
Good.
Sorry, Mike. I don't want to preempt anything. I was thinking, Margaret, as you were talking about a situation where, so Mike has a system that he uses for assigning teams, and I use an adapted version of that. And people who are from a variety of STEM disciplines end up in a team and they haven't met anybody and they haven't had any choice in that assignment. I try and make sure, for example, that there are no teams where there's only one woman or one, person of that's underrepresented, so that the voice is there. When these people begin to work together under the course schedule kind of timeline, there are deadlines, and like most teams, we end up with some who are free riders and some who pull the all-nighters, and so there's this tension that begins. And I was thinking of a situation where we actually haven't had any teams split, and but some very productive students came to me and said, we have free riders here and we don't and so I said, well, we can split the team and they can sink or swim, and so but here's the thing, you're always going to be in teams with free riders, so why not, we'll just talk behind the scenes about all the skills that you can use. This is before they get their leadership and ethics course, but all the skills that you can use to begin to resolve this. Now, you always have, you can pull the ripcord anytime, but just let me know. So we interfaced, worked back and forth, and in the end, these highly productive students were highly productive in resolving the free rider problem. The people who weren't now are, and the whole effectiveness of the whole thing went up. The team didn't split, but they went through that critical incident kind of moment where they were given the opportunity to split. But I said to them, how's this going to be any different than the next time? Why not tackle it now while you have coaching and everything around you to support you? So from that standpoint, maybe that's the kind of thing you're thinking about. But we get to know each other, even though these are STEM semesters and only 7 weeks and a couple of days long. By the time we're done, we get to know each other pretty well and trust each other. And I think that trust ended up being evidenced in them taking the counsel and solving the problem, owning it, and actually leaving with skills they never thought they would ever leave with. It wasn't in a curriculum, it was just what they needed at that time.
Well, Ron, as a management professor myself and somebody who's taught organizational behavior and human resources for many years, that warms my heart because I think that's a perfect example. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, Mike, I cut you off.
That's okay. I was just going to mention over at the Hub, we've had a number of teams that were successful and have actually gotten to the stage where they're producing revenue, they're commercializing the product, but we have had our failures. And the failures, for the most part, are the flip side of what Ron just described. And in fact, I just enforced a new policy over there that we're actually doing a workshop session on teaming, because the failures have inevitably been based on teams that just were totally dysfunctional. And I can proudly say they weren't Rawls graduates, but nevertheless, I think a lot of times when people first enter into this realm and they get into these diverse teams, they fail to recognize the necessity for good collaboration and honest conflict to work towards an end product, and have too much of that ego that it's got to be their way. And inevitably, those are the teams that we have the biggest problem with. And we have actually started programs now to try to address that for teams going through our different grants.
You probably know this better. Well, you know this better than I. Investors are investing as much in the team as in the IP, aren't they? I mean, I've heard that, that the team.
Oh, yeah.
Question number 1 is this thing going to make money? And question 2 is, can these people really run it? Are they keepers, essentially?
Yeah, and a lot of times the answer to that is, believe it or not, no, they can't run it. But a lot of times they're key personnel. So a lot of times the investors will have somebody come in who's more experienced or whatever in the industry, but they need these parties to actually provide the infrastructure, if you will, and it gives them another learning opportunity to, and because they will get to that point where they're going to be running large corporations themselves.
Is there a question in the Q&A? I see a little 1.
Todd put a comment in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, you can click on that and it'll pop up on your screen so that you'll be able to.
Yeah, it still doesn't. That's just me. Sorry.
So, well, Todd, what Todd wrote was, no questions here, but thank you for a great presentation on the tech program I did not know existed. I benefited from the MBA Health Organization Management program that was new at the time, and it was very timely for the healthcare and business world. I suspect your students will look back 30 years from now and will be thankful for the opportunity to benefit from the STEM MBA program.
Well, Mayuk, you have achieved your aim of leaving your audience speechless.
I guess so. But thank you so much. I think it was great listening to everyone. Thank you, Margaret, for joining and asking good questions.
Yeah.
And we are very proud of this. I mean, I cannot really thank enough and Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ryan, and Dr. Parvatia, Dr. Marin, Dr. Villegas, because they all came together. It was hours of meetings and coming up with a plan that will work. And I'm really thankful for this team and these faculty members to do so. Now, obviously, I've heard things from the videos from the students, but I have taught some of the students. And typically, before they graduate, I ask them, how was your experience? What we can do to improve the program? And those who graduated in December, I mean, everyone said, this has been a great experience. I never thought I'll get so much out of the STEM MBA when I signed up. And this project made a big difference of the whole experience in a program. So I really thank the faculty members to come together and do this together. Thank you.
We appreciate the leadership. Thank you.
I think that's a wonderful way to wrap up. Thank you, Mayuk. I would also like to thank our Julie Doss, our Zoom Queen, and Matthew Winfrey, our Zoom King. I understand those are official titles that they have earned over the past 13, 14 months now, and also Laura Sanders for doing all the behind the scenes work on this. So I will offer, if anybody has a parting question about anything related to Rawls, I can give a shot at trying to answer that, but we can release the panel from having to answer any of those difficult questions. So thanks so much to the three of you. That was pretty quick. I made that offer without any warning, but if you do have questions, I think you know where to find me, or you know where to find Julie Doss, and I'd be happy to follow up with any of those. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.